So the snake can move and we can stir it around, but there's nothing to eat. Let's add food and let the snake eat it and grow. So we're gonna start by maybe adding some styling for the food. I'm gonna go here and say that we can use the food as a class and kind of give it a reddish behavior. Let's go back to our main and let's fold a few things. So this is our snake. Maybe right here I'm gonna define a food. So let's say let food be, so let's give it a x of, I don't know, some point like 5 and 5. How about that? It doesn't have to be a let because I just need to update its coordinate. So that's the food. And then what we want to do in the draw is to go and say draw the food as well. So maybe after we draw the snake, we can go on draw the food. So let's say const food index. Like it's going to be very similar to basically like this logic, right? Getting the cell index, the food index, and then drawing it. So food.y times grid size plus food.x, and then we're going to go and be cells add food index dot class list dot add food. All right, so there you go. That's the food. That's the food up there. And I mean, keeping it consistent with our logic, every time we draw, we should also like remove the food and then draw it again, right? So that's just the drawing part of it. Now, what happens is that we want to be able to kind of like move towards this and like eat it, right? So I want to be able to eat it. Right now, it doesn't do anything. So let's go and deal with eating it. Let's go where we update our snake. So this is where we update the snake, right? What we can do is we can not pop the tail of the snake when he eats the food, right? So we can say if new head dot x is same as food dot x and new head dot y is same as food dot y. Well, else pop the tail, otherwise don't pop the tail. And so what happens here is that when you eat the food, you kind of need to put it in a new position. So right now I'm gonna like just hard code something, like let's jump to, I don't know, 15 and food.y 15. Okay, so let's like go let's go to the game, go up, try to eat this, and oh, did I make a mistake somewhere? New head x, food x, new food y, change the coordinates, and that seems to be the right thing. Do we have any errors? Oh, there you go. I don't know why it didn't work for a moment. So let me refresh this one more time. So there are 3 cells in the body, and there you go. Now it's 4 cells. Like it's not gonna work here because I hard coded the positions, right? So what we need to do is, rather than having like hard coded position, we need to randomize the position. So maybe what we can do is we can create a function. Let's call it place food. And this is going to like return a position to us. So let's say like let position be something like this, and then return this position. And then here we can go and say place food. And the idea is that if this function is randomized, then we can go and do the place food here as well. So rather than assigning this to hard-coded values, I can just say food place food. Now if I want to do this, I need to change this to let. I'm basically replacing that variable. Okay, so how can we randomize this position? Well, we basically need a random number between 0 and grid size -1. So we can do that. We can say math.random, and this gives us a value between 0 and 1, and times this by grid size. And this is going to be a double value, so we need to like floor it to get a valid array index, and that's the same thing here. So if you do this, then you're gonna end up with like random positions. Right, I don't know why this is not working again. Let's take a look at the, okay. So did I put this in the right place? It seems so, right? We are placing the food, and if it's not there, we're gonna popping it. Okay, how about this? Let's do a console log and put the position out. So position is 9 and 7. Let's go and, okay, so the collision is not working. Where's my update? New head food X, new head Y, food Y. Let's put a console log, eat food. Alright, let's go and see if it eats food. Okay, it did eat food. That was weird. I'm having some sort of a strange delay in the refreshing of the application for some reason. But it is working. Staring at it is not the best experience. There seems to be like a subtle bug. So maybe what happens is that, okay, let's do something. Let us go back to our food placement and let's do a few things. One of them is that we don't want this food placement to happen anywhere on the body of the snake, right? So what we can do is we can say like if there is any, well, I'm gonna drop this out first, a snake.sum. So if any segment of the snake, we have this condition where the segment X is the same as this position X, and this segment Y is the same as position Y. Then let's say const overlap with snake, right? And then the other thing we can do, let's clean this up. Let me take this out for a second. Okay, and the other condition we can do is const, and we can say same position as food. And you can say if food.x is the same as this position.x and food.y is the same as position.y. Then what that means is that we ended up in a situation that we're just putting it in the same place. So interesting. Okay, we can give this a initial position like x5 and y5 initial, and we can say if initial, there you go. So if these two conditions, if either one of these are true, I want to repeat this process. I basically want to repeat this process for as long as these things are true, right? So what I'm saying is, all right, well, that's gonna make for a very long, okay, let's do let try again equal to false, and let's say try again, and here we can go and say try again is this or this. We can bring the position out as well and then set it here. There you go. So let's clean this up, and then when we go and try to place the food again, let's give the last food to it as the initial position. So let's go here and try to eat this thing. I'm gonna refresh this because it seems like sometimes my refreshing doesn't properly work. But anyways, it seems like we've got the app running properly. There we go. Okay, good. Here's another thing. You know, you can do something like this, and then like when you want to see some debugging messages, you can put this here and go put this here, because it's possible that moving forward we're gonna have bugs again and we want to. So now there's no like debugging messages, but if I go and change this to true, you're gonna see some debugging messages coming out. All right, so we have the food placement, and we can eat the food and it gets replaced to a new position.